Hi, welcome to my channel. This is TrexAthena, and today you're watching my time-lapse fanart of Wednesday Addams. At first I like to create a circle, and to make it easier I use a mirror, so I don't need to draw the other side, which is very convenient to go for drawing a front view portraits. As you can see, I draw lines which will be the guidelines I'll be using later on. My Lineart layer. The first line will be the brows, second is where the nose take place, and lastly her lips. Now I'm adding lines for her cheekbones. I don't necessarily put it into my Lineart, but it's a guidelines for shading her skin. And adding more lines and putting lines to be our hairline guideline. This technique is called Loomis method. I learned from YouTube. Sketching how will the hair look to help me vision more the outcome of this drawing. Look how easier it is to draw and focus only on one side and not think about repeating the other side. But this method only applies with front views. For sketches are frustrating and at the same time fun stage, because you can do whatever you want without thinking much of how it looks. You can make as very messy as you wish. And it is frustrating because you won't be able to imagine how good will the outcome be. It's ugly, but you just gotta trust the process, because this ugly stage is only the first step. In here you use a braid hairbrush to shortcut the sketches. It's okay too to use brushes like this to make your life easier, but it is not cheating. It only does the 1% over 99%. You the artist have to work on every art you make. Remember that you are practicing, improving your skill to be good, but also to make your life easier at the time you become an experienced artist. Now this process of doing sketching the clothes, I just copy what I saw in my references. I really love her dress in this scene. And I just love black so much, and those glare is to die for. And after I'm satisfied with my very messy sketching process, I'll go ahead and add a new layer. Then I'll lower my sketch layer to 20% or lower than 15%. T might be too low for you, but for me sketches are only a guideline that I shouldn't copy 100%, so I want it to not be very visible. Now I'm doing the Lineart. I forgot to record the hair part, but I didn't do much with hair Lineart. The thing is, my Lineart with hair is not detailed because sometimes it just ruins my shading technique, which is semi-realism, so I have to put only the important lines whenever I draw the hair. I use dip pen hard with low capacity brush first as her brow base and then put bunch of lines on top. The eraser I use is an airbrush to create gradients I want whenever I erase some parts. Especially the brow. You don't necessarily need to make it clean, but it depends on the character, and Wednesday have the same brows as mine, so it needs to be messy. If you know cool, and I use some of her techniques like the ramen bowl shaped eyes for the base. At first it didn't work with me, but now I get to use it. I kind of understand how to make it work. And we need to pop that gap between sclera, or what the internet says it's phylid, I'm not sure. And now adding lashes using same brush again to achieve that kind of line. We need to turn on the force fade. Just lower your brush size as you add more details with lashes. The thing I use to fix them, like moving them in or out, is called liquify pen. This pen allows you to adjust the part you think is crooked, or like you want to pull it up or down, left and right. It's a time-saving tool. If you notice, all of my drawings barely put lines when I'm drawing the lips. It's because the Lineart is there to give anime-ish feels in it while the coloring is semi-realistic. It's also my guideline where and how will I shade the lips if I see the lines, which serves as the both ends and the middle part of the lips. In here I plan to just Lineart the edges of her clothes and didn't include any pattern in it. Her clothes are almost blurry, so I can trick the patterns later on. And now I also added a new technique to my list, which is using a circle shape ruler for the eyeballs. Using a dipped hard with a force fade on, I Lineart the eyeballs, and then as you can see I darkened the part where it's close to her eyelids. Once we're done with the Lineart, with the same step we add a new layer, same brush, dip pen hard, we will shade the base of her skin. I usually use pale gray with an yellow or orange shade, which is perfect for my saturated shading technique. Again, using the same brush but lower capacity under 15%, I pick a pink shade for coloring the first shade of where the shadows take place. And the most satisfying part for me to shade is the eyes, so I guess that's why I always start shading this part. We are still using the same pink shade. Usually my favorite part is shading, so it feels heaven to me to patiently put layers of brush strokes in certain places like eyelid, the lips, the nose, until I'm satisfied and take another shade of color and repeat the process. I may not be able to detail how I color, but I can give you advice to take while practicing and learning how digital art works. I'm not a professional artist and I just learned from watching Samyang and Kulin channels, and Pinterest helped me a lot. First advice would be not use only 2-3 shade of color, but if you're a vector artist or some cartoon styled artist, don't take this advice. It will only work if you're into my art style. With the same dip pen hard brush again, I shade with 10% capacity brush with a red but grayish dark red shade. This color I really love because after that saturated pink shadow, if you put it on top, it's just satisfying. And now we're using a very dark shade of red for shadow. Whenever I use this, I need to be careful cause it wouldn't look good if I put too much of it in the wrong spot. But sure, the eyes is an exception. We need the eyes darker, so it's okay to overdo the eyes until your black heart is happy. Now that I'm slowly cleaning my mess up, this part I changed to multiple shades darker, reddish or pink and oranges shade. If you wonder how I blend these, I take an airbrush and damp is slowly to smoother the edges. I use the color of the base I use and blend them using airbrush normal. I like to flip my canvas left and right each time to check if I'm still in the right path. I'm sorry for my excessive obsession of zooming in and out every time. I edited this video to reduce that part, but there's a lot of times I did it haha. As you can see, I start to add more random colors like purple, especially because it gives more life to the drawing. Orange and purple makes a lot of difference for me, so as I mentioned earlier, I use our base color to smoother the colors we dump while shading. And when shading lips, it's a must to put a dark shade a bit at the end of it, like this, as seen into the reference. But I also do this to all of my drawings. I also added some more dark purple to shade the shadows and watch how it pops. As shown below my video, you can see that I barely use a high capacity of brush, or usually lower than 50%. If you try it too from now, it will change your life entirely, cause I notice most beginners tend to use high saturated colors even at the first step of shading, which you need to avoid doing. Start pale, and as you shade more colors, you can add darker and saturated colors after. Let's do the base color of Wednesday Eyes. I used a dark shade of purple as base. Lock the layers, and we use same technique again, lowering the capacity of our brush. Using light shade of purple, I do this thing, just follow what you see lol. For the pupil, just use black. And that's it. If you put a white dot in here, it's magic. To give more life to it, lower than 20% capacity, shade the ramen bowl, almost half, and shade it more, while going upwards. I'm getting lazy ass, so I lasso the entire thing. And color it with random, purple shade as the hair base. Then erase the other parts, lazily. Then now, you have a hair base color. What just happened? It jumped as cabs jinx. Sorry, I failed to record the hair again lol. So now I'm fixing the shadows in her skin. I made the hair darker using black and dark blue with airbrush. So here's some of advice I take with me as I grow and improve my skills and as an artist. Practice makes perfect, but it will take us 100 years to be good if we don't learn from professional artists. Yes, artists with an aces, you shouldn't focus too much on one artist you look up for, and learn, because we all have different tracks and skills. But you can focus on what track or society you want to learn from, associate with people you'll benefit from, and choose the circle of artists that is good at drawing, of course, but also who is friendly and share same track you tackle. For example, anime. I also have a lot of anime fans who draws really well, and they help me visually because I see their art in my feed. Surround yourself with things that will help you improve from visualizing too. It's very important. getting impatient, so I color the background black and shaded the background real quick. I want to inform anyone watching this, I am lazy doing backgrounds. Most of it were tricks and cheats. I just familiarized some shapes from the reference using airbrush to get that blur effects. But honestly, blurring them is better, 'cause if I detail them more, they'll actually messy and distracting. Now we're doing bangs. I'm trying to get that thin crusty bangs, but oops, I remember, I have limited time. TDOT this, not to mention, I'm laying in bed, using fingers lol. Let's just shortcut these bangs man. You can get my QR code brushes on my Facebook page. It is pinned on top of it with instructions and directions. And now let's shade her hair. I love dark hair, it's easier to shade, so I use dark blue purple shade. To make illusion of reflective light. I shade it with black, using a flat brush. Slowly shade it around the hair. The part I left behind is where the light hits her hair. And then I added a layer on top of the background. This is where some strands of hair are left behind to create a small messy look. This part will eventually be blurred out, so I didn't pay it much attention. We're almost done. I'm adding new layer, set as add, which will be our highlights. With same flat brush, I choose a cyan blue same shade as the background reflective light. This part is most important. As an artist, we all have trademark. For me, the highlight is the key to know that it is my art. I love sparkles and dots, since I can't overdo the highlights of this one because of Wednesday personality. So I minimize the sparkle in this one while still maintaining my trademark. Shading hair doesn't need to be very detailed. I made the same mistake before, but guess I just want the face to be the main focus. That's one of the important rules to consider. You must know where you want the viewer focus, and that's how I learned to love blurring parts. I don't want to be the main focus, but still want them to appreciate the details with the blurred part. When erasing some parts, I still use airbrush as an eraser. Excessively zooming in and out. now I'm adding strands to add a messy feels and blurring some parts of her hair. I'm letting P some random dots where zigzag.to serve as highlights. This is a pattern I got for free in Ibispaintx. I just adjusted it in her dress and erased the excess. To make up for the green shade in her dress, add few pieces of leaf brush in dark green color. Lower both their capacity, and merge layer together. Set as multiply layer, and go to the filter button, Gaussian blur the layer, and now it looks the same as Wednesday dress pattern. And after some few touches, which I had fun doing, Wednesday Addams fan art is finally done. Thanks for staying and watching my time-lapse process. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, my car brushes is pinned on top of my Facebook page. See you again next time.